an utter load of shite. And you better start reading through it, because it's not going to happen, guys. You're relying on St. Martin's magic to get you to the end of the season. And I'll say again, you are not signing a monetary player this window.
And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Guys, it's a bit of a quiet morning in terms of Rangers news, so I thought, you know what, why not get a bit of a Celtic fan meltdown on the go. Yes, they did win just at the weekend, but this is more so about their transfer business. Whilst Rangers are spending a lot of money and signing some good young quality players, the same can't be said on the other side of the city, as a lot of them are trying to work out where that £120 million have gone. It's hilarious seeing them do their calculations, their mathematics, and throw their toys out of the pram. We've got a pretty bunch of deluded ones for you today, guys, so sit back, relax, and let's inject some tears into our veins. But first, guys, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more.
Just about certain transfers. If people hadn't come in and gave us stupid money for players, what position would we be in now? This is, you know, all the Champions League money we've had, and so then you've got to question it and go, well, people were quoting me like £120 million in the bank, looking at it and adding it up, and it's like 77 million, and people are almost flabbergasted as to 77 million is enough, a lot of money, but yeah. I think people were expecting for it to be a lot more, and it makes you question, where's the money went? That's what I want to know.
Celtic squad now, where is the big money in that squad as well? That if one of them had to leave, where are we getting that big money coming in from?
It runs in tandem with the fall. It runs in tandem with Andy. You're doing a bit of lag in there. It runs in tandem with the fall for grace that we've had, Hoggy, and it all comes in line with the downfall that we have watched and seen happening and done nothing about it. I'll take Daizen Maeda for an example. Daizen Maeda, you could have sold the PK's powers in the summer. He's got 1 year left in his contract. Daizen Maeda's going to see, I think Martin's maybe turned him, and he's going to see out the season. He's going to get into the last year of his contract, and you're going to get nothing for Daizen Maeda. Rio Hatate would have been the one. I think me and you agreed on his day, which is a very, very big point. He could be the most sellable asset, and absolutely could have been, Callum aside, the best midfielder in the country. But it's all falling into place. This time last year, I would have said Maeda. This time last year, you've asked me a question now that I was trying to think of somebody really genuinely off the top of my head, Hoggy, and I genuinely can't give you an honest answer, big man. It's all come home to roost. And you know, I hate a cliche. Chickens come home to roost. You have seen this happening. It's like a car, and I hate an analogy, and I'm going to use one. You can see there's a car crash ahead. You can see this. Date it back to whenever you want. We are spending less on players in 2026 than what we spent on players under Martin O'Neill the first time he was here. Yeah. You went out and bought Chris Sutton for $6 million. You bought Hartson for $6 million. You bought Lenny for 5.75, and you're in 25 years, a quarter of a century later, you are trying to get by with £2 and £3 million players. Big Ange, yes, Dale has left. You have, and even if you look at the wage things, the wage things as well. I lost my train of thought there. You're trying
the wages.
Yeah, you're trying to get by in 2026 with things that you didn't do. Things that you did do in 2001, 2002. Martin O'Neill spent a hell of a lot of money. The Big Ange even tried to and this was getting me with Martin O'Neill, and I've been very vocal on the chats about why we aren't, and I'll say it, we are not going to sign anyone. We will not, and I'll die on that hill. We will not spend money, and we will not sign anyone in this window. I'll take a charity bet off anybody that disagrees. We will not sign a monetary signing this window. Somebody take me up on the bet. Because we are watching this happen. Why we're doing it, I have no idea. I've got a spectrum of arrogance and I've got a spectrum of incompetence. And we're somewhere in there. The arrogance comes from Dermot Desmond, who will quite simply say, and it's my firm belief, if the window's shut at, what time is it? If the window's shut at 9:15 tonight and we're left with what we're left with, Martin O'Neill will win the league with this set of players because he's Martin O'Neill and he does what he does with these players, right? Martin O'Neill will get you over the line because he does what he does. That's the arrogance, because Dermot Desmond will just sit the league trophy on the table and say, there isn't a problem here, mate. We're still winning this league.
Right. So, for that perspective, is it if Celtic were to win the league, let's say we don't bring in any significant signings, just loan deals to kind of cover bases, and we win the league, surely that plays into their hands, doesn't it? They go, well, look at the shit show there's been and we still win the league.
But my comeback to that, Andy, is why? And what is your ambition for our club?
Exactly,
we do. Your ambition for our club, and that takes you into the incompetence side of things, because, and that's why I gave up on St. Martin's interviews the past few days. I love him to death. I really do. He's in the Lenny ballpark for me, and he was saying the same things that Brendan says, that Ange says, that Lenny said when he was here. I dare say Rory Dyla even said about we're trying. I could have. He said literally the same words as Brendan said. I could have striker the day. I could have had 7 strikers last night, but I'm not taking them because they're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
That takes you to the recruitment process. So that takes you into the incompetence spectrum. If you go from arrogance to incompetence, you're just not very good at it. And I'm the manager, and I'm not going to take him because I don't think he's good enough. They tried to throw that winger at us, which, by the way, I'm glad we didn't pay the money. Let's move on for that. It's politics, religion, exes, remember? And he's went and signed for Sunderland. Fine, good. Don't give them the money. But Big Ange even tried to address it by saying, I've got the Maidas for 2 million. Let's get the 2 million, £3 million signings and sell them for 10. Then we buy 6. Let's take the 6 millions and sell them for 10. Let's buy the 8 millions. Let's sell them for 12. Every manager we have had, and Martin fell into that trap the other day by saying the same things. We're trying, we're close, we're progressing. See Martin saying, and he said the words, correct me if I'm wrong, cut me some slack here. That's what he said, yes?
He said that. Mm-hmm. He said that last. Was the
4.
But I said that before Falkirk game, yeah.
4. Cut me some slack. Please insert on the 1st of February. Don't blame me. That's what that is.
But Baz, I don't want to jump in, but I'm going to, because what he said is cut me some slack, and then he kind of prefaced that a wee bit by it growing a wee bit more and saying, I left here and didn't expect to be back, so I wasn't looking at players, I wasn't looking at that stuff. So the fact that he's coming back in and expecting to basically sign players within his first week of being here, given the fact that Oyes have absolutely shat on the fact that Tisdale's record with his recruitment. So that recruitment department, in his mind as well, can he be trusted with anybody they're suggesting? Which is Andy saying, all the people that's been suggested there's been a massive pause, or they've been fucked in the bin. So again, I'm way Martin on that one as well. Cut him a bit of fucking slack as well, because if I'm coming back in day one as well, I'm not going to say sign him, because if he's thinking he's not even going to come anywhere near Celtic again, why would he have these players lined up?
He allowed 2 questions today. You've clearly watched it. I watched it. He allowed 2 questions today. And he said, along the lines of, I hate this. I've not been looking forward to it. I knew you were going to ask it. So he batted it away. He couldn't get off transfer window quick enough. I'm just going to call it window, because what you're doing is you're looking out the window into the abyss. Martin O'Neill couldn't get off. And this is not a criticism of St. Martin. It absolutely isn't. But Martin's clearly read the room here. He wanted to get off the transfers because there's no going to be any. He was visually uncomfortable sitting there. He's now getting hung out to dry. This is St. Martin. This is St. Martin's legacy that Chris Sutton keeps going on about. he's in danger of ruining his legacy. I don't think he is, because as I've said before, and I firmly believe, and I will repeat, if the window closed in a minute and a half, Martin O'Neill will win you the league with what he's got, because he's Martin O'Neill, right? But for my money, and for what I seen, and for what I observed, Martin O'Neill was in there uncomfortable because he knows he's been duped. He's been the saviour. And if they're not going to back Martin O'Neill, they won't back anybody. Why they're doing it, I don't know.
But Baz, on that one, and just let me throw this one back at you. Why the fuck is Martin O'Neill here then, if he's come back in and knowing that he's going to be fucking fucked over by a board? Why is he still sitting here?
Why, the same reasons as Brendan come back. Brendan come back with a promise as well, did he not? Did he or did he not? And he's in his first communications with the Celtic fans, bearing in mind we all knew the fanfare and the anvil that was hanging over Brendan's head about coming back, and how he went out to 10,000 people inside the stadium when he came back, and 300 folk on the steps of Celtic Park when he did come back, because he had to convince people the reasons as to why he did come back, because we were led to believe that behind the scenes that Brendan was getting these promises, getting this open checkbook, getting this promise that Brendan could take us to the next level. Your only level, for my money, should be the Champions League. And if the Champions League is your money and your level that you set yourself at, you've won your domestic league by default, because if your Champions League is your ambition, you've already wiped the flare with everybody beneath that. Because if you're in that every year, you've already guaranteed that you've won that league. So Martin O'Neill, for my money, unless I've picked him up wrong, unless I'm reading him wrong, and I'm by no means a body language expert, Martin O'Neill was sitting there for my money the day saying, guys, I don't want to talk about this. And there was a reason he didn't want to talk about it, because he's getting told. And then the board will say, well, and mark my words, the board will say at the end of the season, we could only get loans in because what striker's going to come here and sign a 4-year deal with a 6-month manager? See all that pish that they're already waiting to tell you at the end of the season? They are primed and ready to tell you that they didn't sign a striker, they didn't sign a winger, they didn't sign a centre-half, they didn't sign an enforcer for Callum because, well, there was an uncertainty about who was the manager. I mean, I can see the player's point of view. Who would want to come and join a team when you didn't know if the next manager's going to fancy you? An utter load of shite. And you better start reading through it, because it's not going to happen, guys. You're relying on St. Martin's magic to get you to the end of the season. And I'll say again, you are not signing a monetary player this window.
Well, I hope that continues. And just to answer a few things there, I love how they speak about Martin O'Neill as they use saint. Obviously, I do get the why he's called that, obviously. But this Martin O'Neill was the guy that bottled 2 titles. I always remember to Helicopter Sunday, 2005, 2003, how it ended. These guys are making out this guy some miracle worker. And I'll admit it, he's done pretty good with what their players have got. But I don't think they're bang on for the title like one of those individuals are saying. But I think they've come to the realization that that big war chest that they speak about has got a hole in the bottom of it, and it's all gone. Yeah, it's interesting. I keep on hearing them talk about how much money they've got, but the reality is they don't, and they are fuming. The Rangers have billionaire owners and spending on mass amounts of money on players, and it's going to continue. Let's hope Rangers can still win this title. Guys, what are your thoughts on that? Do let me know in the comment section below. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.